Marco is a fifth-year medical student, and he came to see me in a state of exhaustion and desperation. He had just completed an 8 weeks rotation in obstetrics and gynecology. Now, this is one of the toughest rotations at medical school. And what happens is that 1 week you are doing night shift, 7 o'clock in the evening until 7 in the morning. You are in the labor ward catching babies. During the day, you are at medical school attending lectures. The next week, you are doing day shift in the labor ward, working from 7 in the morning until 7 at night, and at night time you are going through online lectures to catch up with what your colleagues had done in lectures during the day. So literally, for 8 weeks, you are not sleeping. On weekends, you are also in the labor ward, monitoring ladies as they're delivering babies, because you have to catch a certain number of babies. Practice makes perfect, after all. And so, as Marco was describing his routine, awful memories of my own experience in obstetrics came flooding back to me. I won the prize for obstetrics, not because I enjoyed the material at all. In fact, I hated every minute of that 8-week rotation. The reason I won the prize is because I was so terrified of the complications that could happen. And during my rotation, I was exposed to every single complication you can imagine. So by the end of the rotation, I could recite the textbook word for word. I knew all the treatment algorithms. And it was because of fear and terror. It was dreadful. So poor Marco was so tired at the end of this rotation. He said to me, "Karen, I don't think I will ever sleep again in my life. I'm so exhausted, but when I get into bed, I'm so tired. I think I'm too tired to sleep," he said. And I knew that feeling quite well. And I think all of us understand what it's like if you haven't had a good night's sleep. Sleep affects everything. Your mood, your outlook, your energy, your appetite, how you look in the mirror. You can see if somebody is tired. And lack of sleep, especially chronic lack of sleep, has tremendous negative metabolic consequences. Lack of sleep can affect your health in some dreadful ways. Insomnia can cause insulin resistance and progression to type 2 diabetes. It is associated with changes in your satiety signal, so that you feel cravings, you feel more hungry, and you lose self-control, which means that you eat the wrong stuff. It can cause a lot of inflammation. It can increase your cortisol level, which means that you break down muscle tissue and you favor fat deposition, especially that horrible inflammatory belly fat. Lack of sleep increases your stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. It increases your heart rate, and in the long term, it can cause high blood pressure. Insufficient and disrupted sleep can change your hormone balance. In men, it affects testosterone, which is the hormone of motivation and power and strength and energy. So that means that if you don't have good testosterone levels, you feel tired and lethargic and apathetic. In women, lack of sleep can disrupt the normal production of estrogen and progesterone, which can lead to menstrual abnormalities, and even infertility. Your mental health is affected by lack of sleep. Disrupted sleep or insufficient sleep causes imbalances in the critical neurotransmitters that are important for signaling between your nerve cells. So you might find that if you haven't slept, you feel irritable, you feel grumpy, your mood is low, you can't make good decisions, brain fog is there, it's just miserable. In the long term, insomnia is associated with an increased risk of dementia as well as neurodegenerative conditions and brain atrophy. So lack of sleep is really stressful for your central nervous system. If you are subjected to chronic sleep deprivation, this has a dramatic effect on your immune system. That's why if you haven't slept well for a period of time, you can be much more susceptible to catching a cold or the flu. Sleep impacts on natural killer cells. These are specialized cells in your immune system that are constantly patrolling your own body cells to make sure that if there are changes in those cells that don't look good, let's say they look like they're pre-cancerous or cancerous, those natural killer cells are programmed to destroy those abnormal cells. And sleep deprivation can decrease the number and the activity and the effectiveness of those natural killer cells, which means that if you are chronically lacking sleep or your sleep quality is decreased in the long term, there is a potential that you might even have a higher cancer risk. So sleep is super important for the optimal function of your immune system. And leading on from that, lack of sleep causes you to age faster. And nobody wants to get old quicker. People who lack sleep look older, feel older, but their body tissues actually are older when you examine them at a microscopic level. And so not getting good sleep definitely accelerates aging and can have a negative impact on longevity and lifespan. So you can see that getting a good night's sleep is critically important for your health. So going back to Marco, I explained to him that the reason why he was struggling to sleep after this 8-week period where his routine was completely out of the norm is that his circadian rhythm had been disrupted. As humans, we are adapted to following the rhythm of the earth. The sun rises in the morning, our bodies respond by producing hormones that wake us up and get us going and give us energy. The sun sets in the evening, and again our bodies respond to that by calming us down and getting us ready for sleep. And sleep is a time when our body re-regulates all of the homeostatic processes, the things that keep our body in balance: temperature control, hormone balance, inflammation. It's a period of time when we're not eating, so our gut gets to rest, and essentially our sleep regenerates our whole body system. And we are adapted to have that rhythm of a period of wakefulness and a period of sleep every 24 hours. This circadian system is regulated by your eyes and by your brain. Your eyes receive the signal of ambient light conditions. So in the morning when light is bright and it's got that particular quality, your eyes receive that information, and at sunset or dusk when the light is dimming, your eyes receive that information, and your brain then processes that information and releases certain hormones and signaling molecules that either activate you in the morning or get you to sleep at nighttime. And what happens in insomnia is oftentimes this circadian rhythm is disrupted. Like in Marco's case, he had to completely ignore his natural circadian rhythm for 8 weeks, working through the night, working through the day, not having a regular sleep-wake cycle, not having a routine at all. And so his eyes and his brain had lost the ability to communicate and to regulate his natural sleep function. And the problem with this is that it's a vicious cycle, because if you're in that situation of having a disrupted sleep cycle, you can't sleep at night, you stay awake, in the morning you're tired, you try and get a nap, everything is out of sync, and it actually perpetuates itself. But the good news is that it is possible to retrain your brain and to retrain your circadian rhythm. It is possible to get back into a good sleep routine through specific lifestyle strategies. So for Marco, we decided on a specific program to retrain his circadian rhythm. First of all, we said you've got to have a normal and predictable routine. Wake up in the morning at the same time every day, weekends included. Go to bed at the same time every day, weekends included. Have the same routine each night before bed, which means if, let's say for example, you have your shower, brush your teeth, get into bed, read a book, switch off the light, you follow those same steps in the same sequence each night, so that you are training your brain and reinforcing the message from your physical activity and what you're doing, that now you are getting ready for bed. We said no screens for the first hour before bedtime, and he had to repurpose his bedroom, because his bedroom was also where he did his studying. So he would sit in bed with his textbooks or his laptop, and we said no, your bedroom is where you sleep. And he agreed then that he would do his studying in another room of the house, so that his brain would associate that particular room or space with sleep rather than work or stress or studies. He agreed to do some relaxing activities before bed, deep breathing, meditation, or reading. We agreed that he would do some physical activity, exercise, but early in the day, because if you do exercise after about 7 o'clock at night, that can actually have an activating effect on your nerve system and can impact negatively on your quality of sleep. Also, he agreed not to have any caffeine after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because he felt he was a bit sensitive to the effect of coffee or soft drinks. And I emphasized to Marco the importance of natural light exposure. Specifically, getting natural light in the morning. There's a particular quality to the light early in the morning, and when that reaches your eyes, it has an activating effect on your nervous system. And so to be out and about, walking in nature or exercising in nature early in the morning has a really powerful beneficial effect on sleep quality. Marco agreed that he would enjoy his morning coffee on his balcony, which was his only opportunity, practically speaking, to get natural light early in the morning. Unfortunately, light that comes through a windshield or that comes through a window, many people say, I'm at the office in the morning but I'm near a window, it does not have the same effect as light in the purest sense of being outdoors without any filtration. So for Marco, we implemented all of these strategies, but I also treated him with a natural supplement of melatonin, which can help when you've had a circadian disruption like what he experienced. And after about 2 to 3 weeks, he said to me, it's not necessary for me to take this melatonin anymore, and he stopped it because his sleep cycle had naturally re-regulated itself. So this case illustrates that it is possible to achieve a good night's sleep and to re-establish your normal circadian rhythm and beat insomnia through lifestyle intervention. And here are my top 3 tips for improving the quality and the quantity of your sleep and beating insomnia. Number 1, make sure that your sleep environment is optimal and your bedroom should be reserved only for sleeping. It should be comfortable, dark, quiet, and a good temperature for good quality sleep. Number 2 is to follow the same routine. Have a routine of waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, following the same bedtime routine every night, so that your brain learns now is the time to wind down, we are getting ready for bed. And the 3rd tip is to get natural light, particularly light in the morning, which then will help to re-regulate your circadian rhythm and retrain the communication between your eyes and your brain that you are waking up in the morning and you are activated for the day. In that way, you can re-establish that normal rhythm that is built into us as humans of waking up naturally with the light in the morning and going to bed naturally at night time when it's dark. And I promise you that getting a good night's sleep will make you feel so much better.